Hey, what's up, guys? Let this thing load. Oh, we're healthy. We're healthy and we're live. So bear with me for a moment while I get things going here. Alright, so I'm back live and I'll explain in a moment what I'm going to be doing. Let me just get this link shared. I don't like the look of that. Oh, come on. Stream's not that healthy. That's alright, though. We'll get going. Alright, so... Alright, give me 1 minute and we will get started. Alright, so I was, hold on, let me just see here. Well, I guess before we get started, make sure you smack that subscribe button down below somewhere. I would really, really appreciate it. I'm going to be putting out so much content in the near future. I started a while ago, and then like a couple years ago, then I just got so busy with life in general, you know, working a full-time job, raising my son, and I just didn't have time to do this. But, with my job, I'm trying to find a new job and shit so I can do this basically full time. I guess that's the plan. And you know, I love music. I'm trying to do a lot of things with music, so this is just one of the things that I like doing. You know, doing streams, videos, tutorials, all that shit. So got to start somewhere, and I need to be consistent with this. So I'm gonna try to do at least one stream or post one video. I don't want to say every day, but at least twice a week. I'll be posting a video hopefully, and then at least one long like studio time, maybe live stream. I haven't figured out what I'm gonna do yet, but I guess if I end up getting a new job in the near future, or I guess leaving my job, I'll have a lot more time. So, with that being said. Make sure you please subscribe. Also share this page, share this video. Trust me, it'll be worth it. I have so many, new preset packs and sample packs and just so much free stuff that I'm going to be giving away soon. And all you have to do is literally just be subscribed to my channel. And then, if you hit that little bell thing, you can get notified when a new video comes out. So, again, for the couple of videos that I posted, I think I have 12 subscribers, obviously, so, this is like a brand new freaking channel, basically. So all the videos that I had in the past, honestly, I might even delete them, just because that's just, old, fresh start, we gotta do things right here. Second, I don't want to ramble too much and bore you guys to death. Just waiting for some people to join, hopefully. But second, obviously right now I am just streaming these videos live. I do have a bunch of locally recorded videos, and for certain tutorials and stuff, I will, record them locally, edit them, and then post them. But just to kind of save time and get some content out there quick, I decided to just do these as live streams. And because I've never live streamed on YouTube before, so it seems to be working out pretty good. The last video, I didn't realize this when I was recording, but my microphone was picking up major feedback from my speakers because I didn't have the compressor and OBS set. The threshold was too high. So yeah, there's a little bit of a slight delay, and it sounds a little sounds a little off. But hopefully it will be fixed for this video. It should be, hopefully. Because basically when I'm talking, as soon as it picks up audio from my desktop, it will duck the mic, so... I think we're good. We're good. All right. And then, obviously, since this is my second stream on YouTube, there's not gonna be many viewers. But what I want to start doing, is kind of, I want to do these streams that I want to do like interactive streams where we can get you guys, the audience, involved in some shit. I don't know what, but maybe just asking stupid questions or something, and what I'm gonna do eventually is have contests. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but to receive free samples, aside from the ones that I'm giving out. But all right, I'm just gonna shut up and get to this video. So today, this video, what I'm gonna show you guys is how to create your own sample / preset library, because very, very important. Obviously, you can go online, you can go on Splice or Platinum Loops, whatever the hell, you can get, as many samples as you want from other people, and that's all great because there are certain, samples, like a lot of, Foley samples, or just doesn't matter. Just, there's specific samples that, are kind of hard to recreate. But truthfully, if you have like a little handheld recorder, or if you even have an iPhone, the possibilities are endless. You could sample basically anything. And aside from that, there's so many plugins available, paid plugins and free plugins that you can get, to create your own sounds and, loops and all that stuff. And, like I said, using samples that you download off of Splice are, it's great. But nothing beats using your own original samples. So I think it's super, super important, when you start producing, or even if you're, like a veteran producer or whatever, and you don't have your own sample library, it's definitely good to start building one. So let me just give you a quick little example here. So this one, this bass music, volume 1, this is actually a pack that I'm working on to release. There are a lot of samples in here that I ended up liking, so I used in a couple of my tracks, but it happens, so... I'm gonna get to like the to how to do this in just a moment, but show you some of the cool stuff you can do. And then it's basically, it's especially, it works well too, especially if you have like ideas that that really get you nowhere. Record it, export it as a loop, and then who knows, it could be the start to one of your tracks. But I have a bunch of sample packs that I've created for myself. There was this one pack that I gave out maybe like a year ago. Possibilities are endless. So let me show you first what you're gonna do. So in Ableton, you got this place this thing down here where you can add a folder. So I'm gonna use this one as an example, this bass music volume 2, because I haven't added anything to it yet. But essentially what you're gonna do, you're gonna click add folder, and then literally, you can just, so I'm super organized with everything. Basically, if I go here, alright, so I have like all of my sample packs in one folder. So you're gonna hit add folder. If you haven't done so already, right click, new folder, and then open up the folder. You could do this a couple different ways. Open up the folder, and then you can create subfolders in here. So for instance, and do whatever works for you. But for instance, I have loops, MIDI clips, and presets, and one shots. So basically, inside of my loops, I got bass, drum, effects, blah 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 blah. And then back here, MIDI clips and presets, Ableton presets and MIDI clips, which we'll get to in a minute. And then one shots, basically we got bass, drum, and effects. You can add whatever you want. So you can create your subfolders in here, which, I recommend doing. I mean, it doesn't even matter, but I'll show you the second way. So do it this way, and then obviously go back to your main folder, and then just click select folder, which will bring it out here. If you don't want to add the folders in there, you can just create a folder, bring it over here, and then just right click and then hit new folder, and then you're good to go. And then, obviously you can rename it. And then to create subfolders, just make sure you, here, let's see. So right click on the actual folder and then click new folder, and then it'll bring it inside here. So just like that. And then if you want to create another subfolder within the subfolder, you just right click on that. If not, you just right click out in the open area and it will add it to your main folder. So it's pretty straightforward. So obviously organize it however you want. This is just kind of something to get you started here. And now, so when doing a session, when starting a session for making samples and stuff, really all you need is just like a MIDI and an audio track. This is my way of doing it, not saying it's the right way, not saying it's wrong. This is just the way I like to do it, which I'll show you why. But there's honestly probably 100,000 different ways you can create your own samples. Like I said, this just happens to be the way I like to do it. And you can obviously be the judge of that. If it works for you, awesome. If not, at least you can get the fundamentals down and understand the concept and everything. I mean, it's very straightforward. So what we're gonna do here, we're gonna go ahead and just create a 4-bar loop. I like to work in increments of 4 bars for doing loops. And then you can go ahead and you want 2 tracks, MIDI and an audio, and your audio is going to be, so you go to external in, and you want to input resampling, which is going to essentially take the output from, well, your master or whatever tracks are playing. Let's just say your master. So resampling is going to take the output from your master and put it into here, which allows you to record. Essentially bounce your MIDI down to audio. Now, like I said, there's 100 different ways to get audio from a MIDI track. You could freeze your track and flatten it, and then you have your sample. But I like doing it this way, and I'll show you why. So what we're gonna do, alright, so I actually have a patch loaded up already. I'm gonna go ahead and create a MIDI clip, which is actually kind of cool. I didn't realize in Ableton 10 you can actually double click on a on the grid, which will create a MIDI clip. Obviously, make sure you consolidate it if you do that. So it's very straightforward. So obviously you put down your idea. get a pattern. Alright, so obviously we got a pattern down, don't want to spend too much time with it, but basically, you know, you manipulate your patch, whatever you gotta do. What's something cool? Kind of sounds like Getter a little bit, to be honest with you. Wasn't my intention, but... Alright, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And now, from here, honestly, normally what I would do is add effects and stuff. But, and then this is totally up to you. I like to keep my samples dry. No effects, just the patch, just the pattern, the melody, the harmony, whatever. You know, little things like reverb, you know, that's fine. But honestly, even reverb, I just like to keep it dry. Because that way it gives you, you know, when you actually use the sample or whoever uses the sample, it gives them, you know, basically room to, you know, warp and manipulate the sample however they want, you know. So you know, that's why I like to leave them dry. So again, it's totally up to you. You could do a dry and a wet sample, it really doesn't matter. But especially if you're going to be using the samples yourself, leave them dry. Don't put any processing on it, just leave it the sample, and then when you go to use the sample, you can process it however you want. You know, so obviously if you know, think something sounds good or whatever, then, you know, process it, like, you know, maybe like for this one, just to add a little bit of, you know, to make it sound a little better, we can add like some sausage fattener. Okay, so now from here, you're going to record arm your audio track. Choose obviously resampling, and then literally all you do, you just hit record. And now you can loop it a couple times if you want. 4 bars is usually pretty good. And then what we're going to do here, we're going to consolidate. So Control J or right click, consolidate. And now we're going to listen to it to make sure it sounds all right. Now I've realized too, and I think I know the reason for this, but I'm not 100% sure. When we resampled that, you could see that the volume was set to -6. So I believe it actually just it writes the information. So whatever the output was recorded at, instead of placing it at 0, I believe it just it sets it to whatever it is, which is pretty cool. You don't want you want it to sound clean, and you don't want it clipping and everything. So I'm gonna try to do here just to see if I see it. Yeah, even if I consolidate it again, and it really doesn't matter, because once you export it, it won't have any volume data attached to it. So that's basically good. So now what we're gonna do, Control Shift and R. Oh, and make sure you highlight the loop. And then from here, make sure you click loop on the sample. It's not going to be a huge deal, because I think when you export it, like I said, some of the data doesn't get written into the sample. But do it anyways. Control Shift R, and now you're going to want to render our second. So the audio track for resampling. You could render as a loop, which essentially will take the tail and it will wrap around the beginning. But honestly, I just like to record it as is. So there's no need to really, mess with any of these settings. Just the raw audio will do, it's fine. And then obviously you could tweak it later when you use it. And then now you export, and then you pick your folder. So I'm actually just going to add this to, the one that I've been working on. And now you can label the tracks, however you want. I have a specific format that I follow. And especially it helps when you're searching for samples. This really helps. So BPM first, and then the key, which I know is it's F, and then basically what it is. So as you can see, I kind of keep things simple. You don't really need to go crazy with the names. Just growly bass line, choppy bass, whatever. It doesn't really matter. I like to number things like 09 or 001. It doesn't really matter. Again, it's entirely up to you. But hopefully with this information, like I said, I'm trying to teach you the fundamentals, then you can kind of take it and do your own thing. But so that way, if you're looking for a 150 BPM sample, you could just search it in the search bar, and then everything that's labeled 150 BPM will come up. You could literally just type in 150 BPM and then the key, and then whatever you made will come up. It's just, it's better organization, looks neater. And again, it's just that OCD, but it'll pay off in the end. So basically, you just hit save. Takes 2 seconds. It'll render, export, and then you just double check it. So go to your basses, and now, as you can see right here, and then we can go ahead and drag it in, and voila, there's your sample. And as you can see, so it does have loop on it, but the decibels, the volume on this thing, the gain, whatever you want to call it, it went back to 0, so we are good to go. And now, and we're good. So moving on. So, aside from exporting audio, which I could sit here and do for a while, but I just want to show you a couple other ways to, create your own library. So do that with basses, with melodies, layer different kicks together and create your own kick samples. Just, anything that you could use, and do it aside from production time. So, like, what I always do, I'll save some time, or even if I don't have like too much time, like one day I'll literally only focus on samples and presets and building my library, and then the second time, or second day, whatever, I literally just produce. So keep those, two separate. Obviously, when you're making a new track, you can make your own presets and stuff as you go, but you want to have your own arsenal of sounds ready to go, because that way you're just you're way ahead of the game, and like you don't have to stop to try to create 100 different samples or find things. Like, where everything is, everything's nice and organized, and it's just, you got fresh samples ready to go, and they're yours too. You don't have to worry about stealing other people's samples. So aside from saving audio, you could also save MIDI. So I got my MIDI clips folder, which I'll show you two things. And so you can save just straight MIDI clips, or you can save the entire MIDI clip with the patch information. So to do so, let me show you. I'm going to show you both ways, because I usually, when I save a patch or a MIDI clip, I should say, I usually save 2 copies. I'll do just the raw MIDI file, and then I'll do it with the patch. So to do it with the patch, you literally just click and drag it over to your folder. So we'll just name this, let's see. And BPM doesn't matter for MIDI, so I mean, you could if you really wanted to, but it really doesn't matter, because it'll automatically, adjust to the master BPM of your track. So I literally just do, the key and then just whatever it is. So we'll do F, and then we'll just do growly, bass, line, MIDI. Actually, we don't even need to do MIDI. We'll just do growly bass line. And then what we can do, you can actually label it, whatever you labeled the, if you did a sample of it, you can label it the same thing, so when you're going through your stuff, if you type in growly bassline 09, the MIDI information for that sample will come up. So, it's gonna help you. So, growly bassline at 009, and then you take it, you click, and you literally just drag over here. You see that comes up, you hit enter, and boom, you're done. So now when you want to use that, you click and drag it into your arrangement. And look at that, Serum preset. Actually, it'll save the effect chain too. So you can see we had sausage fat in there. So essentially, it will save the entire track, like all of the information that So if you do put effects on there, or you have like a specific effect chain, you can do that. So that's pretty cool. If you want just the MIDI data, literally all you have to do is take the MIDI clip and drag it into a blank MIDI track. Click, drag it over, and then usually what I do, I'll do something like this. Oh, well, actually, so I'm just gonna do this. So I usually just do with patch. So now we're good to go. And this will just be regular 009. Doesn't really matter. Again, it's all preference. But now if you wanted to use this pattern, you can just click and drag it into whatever sample you want. And then So look at that. So, oh, sorry, I did 09. So actually, I gotta fix that. Okay, so now all that information will come up here. So you got your sample that you exported. You have your MIDI with the information. And then you got your raw MIDI. So that's pretty much, that's how you do it. So yeah, save MIDI clips, you know, save your samples. And now let me show you one more thing, well, a couple more things. Saving, you know, instrument racks, or just, you know, effect chains, whatever you want to call it. So I'm just gonna drag in like a blank audio track here, and a couple things you can do here. So this is like the main, one of my, you know, main drum racks that I use, and I have it pretty much maxed out. You know, it's basically filled with samples. And now what I did here, it's not just a drum rack, it's a drum rack and drum bus that I also made macro knobs for. But I saved this as the entire chain, so every time I drag this into my project, everything is set to go. So I'll show you how to do this. So what you do, I guess we'll start with drums. So we'll just go ahead and drag a blank drum rack. And just for this purpose, I'm just going to use a couple just random samples, nothing crazy. That works. It would help if we had that on. And you could literally obviously save anything. You can do, you know, different loops and stuff. If you want to use it kind of as like a sampler, or obviously just like one shots, you know, it doesn't really matter. I don't know, that's good enough. It doesn't really matter. So now what you're going to do, so let's just say you drag all your samples in. What I recommend doing, by default, your samples are going to be set to -12 dB. You can leave it, but I usually like to bring it up to like -6. Again, it's all preference. You can leave it as is. It's not going to really make a huge difference, but I usually find myself, you know, when I leave the drums at -12, they usually turn out to be too quiet. So -6 is a pretty good thing. And what you can do now, let's just say you already dragged all your samples in. You can literally right-click on any parameter in here. So we did -6 to this one. All the other ones are still at 12. Right-click, and then copy value to siblings. Now every single one will have that value. So if you want to have like a specific, you know, let's just say transpose, you know, right click, copy value. If you want to, you know, put a filter on everything, right click, copy value, you know, velocity, a little fun fact for you. So, you know, you can do that. And then obviously you can map stuff, which we'll get to in a minute. So now that we have our drum rack, what we're going to do, we're going to close this up, we're going to right click, and we're going to hit group. So now here is our rack. What we need to go to, now if you don't have Ableton 10, you won't be able to do this, but don't fret, because, you know, there's other ways around this, I guess. But we're going to use Drum Bus, which is a new preset for Ableton 10, which adds so much beef to your drums. It's awesome. So we're going to click and drag after the drum rack. So right there. So real quick rundown of the drum bus. You got your drive here, crunch, boom, and then there's a bunch of other things. The drive obviously just adds, distortion, slight distortion to your input signal. 3 different types: soft, medium, hard. Hard is like a clipping distortion. Medium is kind of, actually, I think if you, let me see here. All right, here. So distortion type: soft, medium, hard. Wave shaping, distortion, limiting distortion, and clipping. Whatever. I'm not going to get too much into this, but the reason I use this is because you can, it's got a built-in compressor, and it also has some other cool effects that you can use to really beef up your drums. It's got a built-in, this boom thing. It's got a built-in like sub bass, enhancement thing that you can add to your kicks. So, and then you can tune it. So, I happen to know that, let's see, F is 43.7 hertz. So you can do that. Obviously, if you just, adjust this, it will go to whatever it needs to be at. Or yeah, you can see the note down here. But you literally just click that, and then it'll make it an even F or whatever. And then whenever you click, you probably can't even hear that. But it's a tuned low frequency, sub whatever, basically. Little overload there, but you kind of get the idea. So what I like to do here, I like to have total control over my presets. So I'm going to go ahead and map some shit. So you click map over here on your instrument rack. And now we're going to want to control the drive. So you click drive and then map. Crunch, map. Boom, map. And then also, I guess we can do the frequency. Oh, and then compress. I think that should be probably pretty good for now. Unmap. And then what you can do here, it's just a little OCD thing. You can color everything. So drive, I don't know, we'll make blue. Crunch, orange. Boom, we'll make yellow. Boom, frequency, we'll make like a green. And then also, as you can see, it automatically adds in what it is. If you don't like the description, you can obviously just rename it yourself. Right click, and then boom. And then compression, I don't know, we'll just give it blue. And then, let me see here, because I don't like compressor on. I'll just do comp, just so it fits on all on one line. Doesn't really matter. Set to go. So if you want to, leave, put a little bit of drive on here, by default, it doesn't really matter. Put the settings however you want it. You can map whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. You can make combinations of, different things. So if you want to, put drive, crunch, and boom all on one macro, and you can label it, fuckery or something, it doesn't even matter. You could do that all. And then we're going to go ahead and rename it. So just highlight the instrument rack, and then you're going to just hit rename. And then I'm going to actually turn this into something later. Label whatever you want. So I'm going to do Broken Ocean. We'll just do Bass House Drums 001. That works. So, and then obviously add whatever other effects that you want. And then you're going to hit save. So add your samples, add your effects, tweak everything how you want. Make sure it's set to go. The most little amount of work that you have to do when you produce is key. So hit save. Whatever you typed in should automatically save as, and then hit enter. And now what I like to do, we're gonna take this and we're gonna drag it. Let me see here. I'll show you a little fun fact here. So, all right, for this, I'm going to go ahead and actually make a new folder. Ableton presets. So now we can actually go over to user library, and we have this drum rack right here. Take it, and we're going to drag it over and hold it for a second. And then we're going to Ableton presets. Boom. And you can take it even a step further in Ableton 10. You can right click or hit a number thing. You can color code it. So I'm going to name this to add this to favorite presets, and then everything you color code will be up here. So there's all my favorite racks, favorite samples, whatever, It's pretty cool. So organization is fucking key. And now, let's just get rid of this to show you now that when you're set to go. And then also, it will show up over here. It should show up over here somewhere. Usually it shows up over here in the actual drum thing. I think it might just be, I don't know, because we, I don't know. I guess it really doesn't matter, but I'll fix that later. Test it out, make sure it all loads up properly. Set to go. Basically it. And like I said, you could do that with any effects. Like just something simple, even if you want to make like a variation. So like my auto filters, I actually created this D-Mud, which I literally throw on every track. All it is just like a low cut at 26 hertz, because to reduce muddiness basically, because the human ear can't hear that, but it'll create muddiness. So you literally just tweak the settings and then you save it. Let me show you something else here. Let's do, I don't know, here, we'll create a utility variation. Again, it's stuff that takes 2 seconds, but let's make our bass mono, and we'll just do 300 hertz. Actually, what we can do too, let's go ahead and create a group here, macros, and then we're gonna map our macro to the bass. Again, this isn't really necessary, but I just kind of want to show you guys the stuff you can do with creating your own presets. Also, if you want, up here at the top when you're in MIDI mapping mode, you can see that there's a minimum and a maximum. You can actually choose, like, if you only want the macro knob to turn it up to like 300 hertz, you can turn it down. So essentially, the entire rotation of that knob will only turn it up to 300. So boom, boom, bang, bang. And now, look at that. So we could do that. Also, let's see, what else can we add to this chain here? It literally doesn't matter. You can add anything. Let's just add a limiter just for shits and giggles. Shits and giggles, just to show you. So now what we can do, map this to here, but now here's what we want. We want the minimum to be 0. So minimum to be 0, and we want the maximum, let's just say we'll make it 12. So type in 12. So now this knob will move the gain from 0 to 12. So you can use these macros to like really fine tune things. And then yeah, so now we have that. I don't know, just let's say something that you can use with your, you know, mastering plugin or something, or with your mastering master channel. Trying to think what else we could do. I mean, literally the possibilities are endless. So let's do one more thing here. Let's map the width to here. And what we're going to do, we're going to keep 100%. And then the max, we're going to go 115. So there's that. So now this will literally move the stereo width from 100 to 115. And now we can go ahead and we'll save it. We'll just like rename it. I don't know. Let's see. Mono bass. Doesn't matter. It's just for tutorial purposes. So I don't know. Monitor or mono bass limiter. And then hit save. Save, and then you know, all of your effects are going to show up in your user library, but click it, drag it over to your Ableton presets, and then now you are set to go. And then, you know, with your Ableton presets, you can actually, you know, create subfolders like this if you want, like, you know, whatever it is. It's up to you. Obviously everything saves in your user library. I just personally like to organize things myself. So now whenever you need that, you just click and drag it and it's all set to go. That's basically it. So I think that wraps it up, about wraps it up for this video. I'm not really going to get into vocals just because it's hard to demo vocals while I'm obviously using my microphone. But stuff you can do.
Yo, check it out.
I'll show you guys my vocal chain real quick that I use.
Yo.
So I use this. This is like my base vocal chain for recording vocals. The only third-party plugin you're going to need is Nectar Elements. Everything else is Ableton stock plugins. So if we go ahead and open this up here, I have a compressor, and obviously the settings. Ignore the settings because it's gonna vary, you know, depending on your input signal level and many other things. So. If you want to copy this, obviously you can. I highly recommend it. It's, you know, it's just a start, somewhere to start. So we got compressor, we got Nectar Elements, which obviously has a bunch of built-in, you know, effects. But it's awesome. It's very simple, but it's awesome. It's got a de-esser, it's got pitch correction, and then I got an EQ8, which, you know, this curve, again, it changes per, you know, most of the time. It really all depends on your setup. But this, for I guess my setup, and normally when I start, this is kind of the curve that I use. That sounds right to me. So, you know, like I said, feel free to copy it if you want. And then at the end, obviously, I just have a limiter. You know, and that's really it. I wish I could show. See, if I do this, it'll probably freak out. Yeah, I'm not even going to try it. I don't want to crash my computer. But actually, this needs to be in here. I don't know why it's not. Yeah, and then that's basically it. So, like I said, build your sample library. Drums. Do shit, you know, make samples you can sell, use for yourself. It doesn't really matter, you know. Just, it's really gonna come in handy, you know. Effects loops, just layering a whole bunch of different shit, doing weird things, you know. It really doesn't matter. You know, I use Nexus a lot, you know, and layer different, you know, melodies together, different sounds together, you know, create your own thing. Yeah, you know. But yeah, that's basically it. So. I haven't even been paying attention to the stream. I don't think anyone's really watching this, but if you have any questions, drop them in the comments right now. If not, that's all right. I will be uploading some videos later on. But yeah, if you have any questions, anything you want to see, let me know now, because I'm gonna end the stream in a minute. I really don't know how many viewers we had, but like I said, I'm gonna be putting out lots of content. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. But yeah, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on YouTube, SoundCloud, Twitter, Facebook, all that fun shit. I'll be posting, lots of stuff, lots of new music. Got a new track coming out soon. Yeah, and that's basically it. So, no questions. I guess that wraps it up. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you next time. Broken Ocean out. Peace.